Hello, everyone. Welcome to Queer Lawyers Speak, hosted by LAGBAC, Chicago's LGBTQ Bar Association. My name is Adam Zebilian. I'm a partner at Schiller, DeCanto & Fleck, where I practice family law, and I'm the current president of LAGBAC, Chicago's LGBTQ Bar Association. This is our inaugural show, and for our first show, we have two past presidents. Judge Cecilia Horan is to my right here. She sits in the Chancery Division, and she was president of LAGBAC from 2015 to 2018. And she is the current president of the Alliance of Illinois Judges, which is the LGBTQ judicial professional organization here in Illinois. So welcome, Judge Horan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And also to my right, we have Moses Suarez, who's our immediate past president. He was president of LAGBAC, Chicago's LGBTQ Bar Association from 2018 to 2022. He's also a partner at Anderson Davis, where he practices healthcare law. Welcome, Moses.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I know that many of the audience members probably aren't in the legal profession, and that can be a good thing or a bad thing. But why don't we explain what a bar association is? Moses, can you do that?
Sure. So a bar association really is just a collection of lawyers and legal professionals who get together, form an organization for networking, primarily networking and continuing legal education reasons. It's a great way to, educate one another, inform one another about improvements in the law, learning what's going on in the law. It's also a way for business development. You develop very good connections through the bar association and can get introductions to potential clients. And then it's a great social organization, just to have legal colleagues and friends to socialize and have fun.
And there's many different types of bar associations too. For example, we're the Queer Bar Association, but there's the Chicago Bar Association, Hispanic Lawyers Association of Illinois, Cook County Bar, things like that.
Correct. So LAGBAC is Chicago's LGBTQ Bar Association, which is primarily composed of lesbians, gays, transgender members, as well as queer and everyone under the umbrella. We bring our experiences in the LGBTQ community to the legal profession and makes us better lawyers, I think.
I agree. Judge Horan, can you give the audience kind of a history of LAGBAC, where it's been, where it's come, just the history?
Sure. LAGBAC, I wanted to make a point that LAGBAC stands for Lesbian and Gay Bar Association of Chicago. A few years ago, I think under Moses's tenure, we changed the name formally to LAGBAC, Chicago's LGBTQ Bar Association, in order to be more inclusive, to include the trans community and people who are on the spectrum in their identification. But LAGBAC was formed originally in 1987 by a group of three lawyers, Mark DuPont, Bon Foster, and Pat Logue, who are our heroes and whose shoulders I think we all stand on. They understood that there was no organization like this for LGBTQ attorneys, and so they formed it. And the story I like to tell is, back then, back in the 80s, it was AIDS was prevalent. The community, the larger community, wasn't as accepting of the LGBTQ community as it is now. So these lawyers who began this organization would have these board meetings where they wouldn't even write down their full names. They would write down their first name and their last name on the sign-in sheet because they were worried that they would be discovered and perhaps fired from their jobs. So we've come a long way. Since that time, I don't know how many Bar Association presidents we've had, but you can see now that being LGBTQ and out in the legal profession is accepted and welcomed and a real benefit, I think.
Now, when did you join the board? Because you're currently on the board, right, Judge Horan?
I am on the board. Oh my gosh, 10 years ago maybe or more, 12 years ago? I don't remember the exact year. But
Well, I've been on the board 8 years, and I know I joined under your presidency. So that would have been 2016.
oh gosh, so I was on long before that. I'd have to look at my resume to tell you the exact year, but it's been a long time.
I don't mean to age you, Judge.
Thank you.
Moses, how long have you been on the board? Because you currently are on the board as well.
Right. I don't know that I can put an actual accurate number on it, but I think I joined sometime in 2012 or 2013.
Okay, yeah.
Well, great, great. And you were talking about the name change under Moses' presidency. We kept LAGBAC as part of the title, but we don't go by what that acronym stands for anymore. Is
That's
that
right? That's right. And speaking of the formation of the Bar Association, back in 1987 in the mid 80s when LAGBAC formed, it was one of the few LGBTQ bar associations in the country. First 4 or 5, there were about 4 or 5 ahead of us. But it was the only bar association that actually was out in the name. The other bar associations used some other name or acronym or some way, some name that didn't explain that it was a gay and lesbian organization.
Interesting, interesting. And we're one of the largest queer bar associations in the country. I believe.
We are.
Yeah. So you've had an interesting career, Judge Horan. You were a partner at a large law firm, then you transitioned to the bench. Can you kind of tell your pathway through the legal profession to where you've gotten today, which is a judge?
Yeah, I started law school in, 1994 and graduated in 97. I was a partner, eventual partner at Hinshaw and Culbertson for 20 years. And then I was very fortunate. I asked the Supreme Court to look at me for a position on the bench, and they did, and I was appointed to the bench in 2017, and then I was appointed to a vacancy. That means another judge either quit or passed away, and there was a vacant position. And so I was appointed to that position. The term for a judge is 6 years, so what that means is that after the term of that judge's, after that term expired, I had to run in an election and win in the election in order to keep the seat. And so that's what I did. I had a full-blown campaign and went around and met all as many people as I could, asked for their support, and I was successful. And in 2018, I was sworn in again as an elected judge. And so that's where I sit today. I'm elected, and I will be up for retention in 2024, this year.
And for people that don't know, what is a retention versus a general election?
So for judges, a retention ballot is simply a yes or no, and you see these at the bottom of the ballot. You'll see 60 judges' names or 70. I think there are more than 70 this time around. And it says, yes or no, do you want to keep this judge or do you not want to keep this judge? And so what that means is after a judge has fulfilled the first term, a 6-year term, they never have to run against an opponent again. It's just a yes or no, and the judge has to get, I think it's 60% yeses in order to stay on the bench.
Great, great. So this is your first retention race?
My first retention, that's right.
I don't think you have anything to worry about, Judge.
I hope not.
We're all very proud of you.
Thank you.
Moses, you're currently a partner at a large law firm. I believe your law firm has locations all over the Midwest. Is that right?
Yes.
So tell us about your path to where you're at today.
Well, I've been at the same firm ever since I graduated law school at Amundsen Davis, and I started a little later than you, Judge. I started in 2007, graduated in 2010, and been practicing for the last, 14 years. I've always been practicing in the healthcare space, representing hospitals, physicians, any type of healthcare professionals or legal entities. And, I went into the practice of law primarily because I wanted a career that was stable and long-term. But I also chose the practice of law because of the enormous potential that this type of career could have. Primarily also because of the ability to represent people and to be a voice for others. I can talk a lot, and I enjoy that. So,
as a close friend of his, he does talk a lot. I can attest to that.
So that's kind of how I got into the legal profession, and after graduating law school, started representing healthcare people. I had had some healthcare experience before I went to law school. Became a CNA when I was in high school, and also
Certified nursing assistant?
a certified nurse assistant, and I also became certified as a pharmacy technician. So that's how I got myself through undergrad and through college. And that kind of helped me when I started practicing law to understand basic medical knowledge.
And so you defend doctors, nurses in lawsuits or in professional settings such as a licensing setting?
Yep.
Okay, very good. I bet that's rewarding work.
It is very rewarding when you can be a voice for a professional who's being investigated for potential malpractice, and just being able to learn the facts of a case and to understand why there wasn't negligence that was committed by an alleged physician. And I just love the medicine, being able to investigate and come up with a theory about why a certain adverse outcome occurred in the absence of negligence.
So you get to understand all the medical stuff without actually going in and seeing it yourself. You get to see it on paper.
Without being a doctor. But no, you actually get to see some of this stuff yourself, and I really get a kick out of that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Judge, you, what was it, last year were elected as the president of the Alliance of Illinois Judges, known as AIJ.
That's right.
It's a 2-year term, so you're halfway through your term.
Right. In June, I'll be halfway through.
Okay. Can you let the audience know what is AIJ?
The Alliance of Illinois Judges is similar to LAGBAC. It's an association of LGBTQ judges, and we draw judges from all over the state of Illinois, primarily from Cook County, as you would imagine. But in our organization, we have 22 LGBTQ judge members, and then we also, from everywhere in Illinois, but again, primarily from Cook County. And then we also have allies. So we welcome allies, people who are friendly to the LGBTQ community to join as members.
Oh, that's great. Did you just say 44 judges?
22.
22 judge members.
That's right.
Okay.
Right. Including federal court judges, too.
Yeah, Judge Rowland is a member.
Judge Mary Rowland, yeah.
And is she the first openly LGBTQ judge appointed in the Northern District Federal Bench?
In the Northern District of Illinois, that's right.
Very cool. So, Moses, why did you join LAGBAC? What got you involved in LAGBAC?
Yeah, well, it was to have a community, to have a network of fellow LGBTQ lawyers, people whom I could socialize with, lean on for advice, to get some mentorship as I was starting my career. And LAGBAC has a very good mentorship program, not just for lawyers, but also a mentorship for law students. So, joining LAGBAC allowed me to have mentorship like from Judge Horan, and just be engaged and learn while I was practicing law, learn new skills through the CLE programming.
So did you start in LAGBAC as a student or as a lawyer?
I started as a student because I was in school in Indiana.
Ah, okay. All right. So you've been with LAGBAC a while.
Did I say I started as a student?
Yes.
No. I meant I started as a lawyer.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, because I was in Indiana, so I didn't start until 2010.
Okay. All right. And Judge Horan, same question. Why did you join LAGBAC?
I had friends who were involved and kind of recruited me to come into the organization. And once I was in, it was like coming home. I mean, the people are fantastic. The good work that LAGBAC does is infectious, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it.
So to audience members that may be considering a career in law, what advice do you have for them, Judge? Sitting where you are now, as a successful lawyer and now a successful judge, what advice do you have?
My advice is to think about it. If I would have thought too hard about it, I wouldn't have done it. And so I'm glad that I didn't think that hard about it, and I did it. But think about how helpful you could be to people as a lawyer. And if you decide to ascend to the bench, that's another really wonderful way to be helpful to people. But I would say that be prepared to work hard. It's, everybody thinks lawyers make all this money. Not all lawyers do make a lot of money. But the rewards, it's really gratifying. It's very gratifying work. And so if you can dedicate the 3 years of your life to school, or 4 if you're working, and you want to have a fabulous career with some really wonderful people, I think that it's an outstanding profession.
Yeah, lawyers get a bad rap, I think, for just being kind of miserable. And I have found just the opposite. My best friends are lawyers. I like hanging out with lawyers. They're funny. They have a good sense of humor. You have to have an open mind, I think, to be a good lawyer.
Right.
So I've always found it to be a fun club to be a part of.
I agree with you 100%. It's not every day, all day is a barrel of laughs, and it is hard work. I mean,
it's a stressful
you and I have both
profession.
worked long into the night. We've had trials that you stress out about, or hearings, or there's a lot of preparation. There's a lot of reading. There's a lot of
Writing.
writing,
A lot of writing.
a lot of organization of your thoughts, right? But going to law school, I think that knowledge is power. And going to law school teaches you how to think and how to be a critical thinker, and that's so valuable. So
No matter what you do with
no
the
matter
law
what
degree.
you do, that's right.
Moses, same question. What advice do you have for someone considering going into the law?
I think, the basics is just go to college, finish college, get that degree, get the best grades you can get, and consider, if you're planning or thinking about going into the law, about allowing your mind to be transformed about how to think. And I think law school for me was a transformational experience of how to think and how to put your thoughts together, how to organize your mind and your arguments. And yeah, I think that anybody can become a lawyer. So if you dream it, you can become it. You just need to apply yourself. My grandfather used to always say that half of life is just showing up. And if you just show up to school and you apply yourself, you'll graduate and you move on to the next level, and you'll go to college and you go to medical school, or you can go to law school. You can go to any achievement is within your reach.
Just hard work.
Just hard work.
And sometimes showing up is hard work. Both of you have had very successful careers, and I'll pose this question to both of you. Is there anything you would change? Starting with Judge Horan.
What would I change? Boy, can you ask Moses first?
Yeah, Moses, go ahead. Go ahead.
What would I change? I think I would have. done try to do some more clerkships.
Yeah.
I also did my summer associateship or
What's
clerkship.
a clerkship?
Sure, a clerkship is when you're in law school. You work at a law firm and you kind of do the same duties that lawyers are doing, but under lawyer supervision, and you're learning. You're a clerk to a lawyer or a group of lawyers. And so I did my clerkship at Amundsen Davis when I was in law school. So I've been doing this, or been at the same firm since 2009. And I think it would have been great if I had done another clerkship just to try out maybe public interest, or to do something with the state's attorney's office, or just a different style of law, because there's a vast array of practice areas within the law. I work in a defense firm. There's also plaintiff firms, the lawyers that represent the victims or the patients, people who are injured. There's lawyers that work at corporate companies, right? There are lawyers that are state's attorneys that defend criminals, but also that prosecute criminals. So I would have liked to have added just a little bit more experience outside of what I've been practicing, because I've just been doing the same since 2009.
Well, you got to be good at it then.
You have to be good at it, yeah. So that's the thing about the law is like you kind of, many lawyers become highly specialized. And
especially in large markets like Chicago.
Right. Highly specialized. So you find a niche and you develop your skill set in that niche practice so that you can actually offer a particular skill to your clients.
So have you been in the healthcare section of your firm then from the beginning?
From the beginning.
All right. Very
I
good.
started out as a summer associate, and I'm now the co-chair of the healthcare practice group.
Well, if I know any doctors in trouble, I'm sending them your way.
You have my number.
Yeah. And Judge Horan, when you were in private practice as an attorney, what did you work in?
I was a litigation attorney at Hinshaw. I did a lot of transportation type litigation, trucking accidents, railroads.
As a defense attorney or
As a defense attorney,
Okay.
That's right. So we would represent companies that would get sued mainly because of personal injury by the plaintiff, the person who's doing the suing.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. All right. And so the same question, anything you would do differently?
Yeah, like Moses said, I mean, he gave me some food for thought. I did that type of work essentially my whole career with a smattering of other things, but maybe I would have expanded my practice a little more to get a wider range of experience. I'm lucky now in the role I'm in right now. I see so many different types of practice that it's fun and interesting and always challenging to learn new things and learn a new area of law, but I enjoy it very much. So
Now, you sit in the Chancery Division.
I do, General Chancery.
What is General Chancery?
It is almost anything, all kinds of litigation, but the one common denominator is that the plaintiff is seeking equitable relief, meaning not monetary relief, not there's, often it's not like a car accident where somebody's injured and they're seeking $1 million. It's more like construction of a contract, construction of an insurance policy or a trust, or a temporary restraining order or a preliminary or permanent injunction, that kind of relief. So even though they can be seeking monetary relief, they also have to be seeking some sort of equitable relief.
Which equity essentially means fairness.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. Well, very interesting. There may be people watching that are seriously considering going to law school. What would be the first step? Let's say if you're a high school student, what do you recommend they major in? What type of classes should they concentrate in college? I always say that I think it's best to get a degree in some sort of like English, because we write all the time. Mm-hmm. People think lawyers are in the courtroom yelling, mm-hmm. putting on theatrics. That does happen, but most of it's in your office reading and writing. So an English degree, I think, would be helpful, or a philosophy degree. Philosophy, you can't use it for anything else, but it does train your mind sort of in how you learn in law school. So do the two of you have any advice?
Well, I wouldn't really recommend any particular degree program because, when I went to law school, I think I saw all the degrees. English, history, political science.
I had a human biology degree, or I have one.
Right.
Yeah.
Scientific degrees. So you can go to law school with any 4-year degree education, and I think that whatever degree you have is going to give you something to bring to the table. Mm-hmm. Mine was political science. I think I had less to offer at the table, but I think any skill set. But yes, reading, writing, those are really key skills to have. And most people in the U.S. will have those skills. But I think reading and writing for law school is on another level. So if I was in high school, I would be applying myself to reading complex, articles, complex writings, and practicing writing different styles.
And many people that go to law school, probably political science is the number one major mm-hmm. for people entering law school. So you were probably among many. But I've never met a political scientist, but maybe I need to get out more. But, Judge Horan, what about you?
It's interesting because you see people who go into becoming policemen, and then they go, like you used to do, go and become a state's attorney or a public defender. So I think like Moses said, any area that you're interested in, I think you could focus on when you're in high school and in college. But if you know that you want to go to law school and you know what you want to practice law, and if you know you want to be a litigator, I think that's right. I think doing a lot of reading and writing is the way to go. And
you mentioned litigator. For people that don't, well, actually, now we're out of time, but quickly, Judge Horan, for people that don't know, there's two types of areas of the law, litigation and transactional law. Can you just quickly go through that?
Litigation is you're in court. You're trying to convince a judge to decide in your favor. And transactional, essentially buying and selling a business, like a merger. Contracts.
Trust,
that's right.
Drafting those things.
That's right.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We are out of time now. Thank you for joining us for our first show. We will have another one next month. Thank you to both of our guests, both my very close friends and mentors, and I hope I don't let them down. I have big shoes to fill as the new president. And thank you all for joining us. Take care.